Student, this poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, which is written by Leslie Norris, is actually a poem which talks about the difference between a tiger in the zoo and a tiger in the jungle. Actually, how the characteristics how the characteristics of the tiger in those two situations contrast from each other. When a tiger in the zoo, it's not the original, it's not in the real form of tiger, but when a tiger is in its natural habitat, then how a tiger is the real tiger. That's what we are going to read in this paragraph. Now we will see the first he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his case on paths of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Students, this poem, the rhyming scheme is such as A, she, and BD. So actually, the word stripes is rhyming with the word quiet, and the word case is actually rhyming with the word rage. First and all, let's see the hard words of the stanza. Then we will and then I will explain you the whole meaning of the stanza. The word stalks, students, the first he stalks in his vivid stripes. The word stalks means to walk stiffly or hotly. That's what it means. And the word vivid, student, is deep and bright color, vivid. And stripes, you all know what the stripes is actually the lining on the body, or the spots on the body of a tiger is actually the stripes of the tiger's body. And then case, you all know what is the case is. And then on pads here, actually pads of velvet, referring the feet of tiger. The pads of velvet, you all know that a tiger's feet is generally made up of it's a very stocky, गद्देदार होती है. So is actually the poet is actually referring it. The feet of tiger has been here referred by the poet as the pads of velvet. Velvet, you all know, is actually the fabric of silk, cotton, or nylon. Fabric is actually a fabric of silk, cotton, or nylon. And and the feet of tiger is very soft, so that is why the poet is referring. The poet is actually metaphorically he is saying that the tiger's feet is like the velvet, the feet made up of velvet. That's what he wants to say. And the word rage here, student, is actually, you all know the meaning of the rage is anger, extreme anger, when you have an uncontrolled, unpressed anger. So the poet actually now in the first stanza, student, in this poem, stanza by stanza, in one stanza poem describes you a lion in cage, a lion in the zoo, and in next stanza the poet describes you a lion in jungle. He in two different stanza he is describing you two different tiger. First he will describe a tiger of zoo, and then here tiger in jungle, and then you will have to see how when the situation changes, a tiger generally changes. It's implements on everyone whenever. In the first paragraph, in the first stanza, the poet wants to say that the poet is describing about a tiger in the case. As I told you yesterday that in a stanza by stanza, poet is describing alternatively the tiger in cage and the tiger in jungle. In one stanza he would describe you about a tiger in the cage, and then the same tiger in jungle, how it would be behaved. So when a tiger is in jungle, it's very obvious that he would be angry, because he would not like to just remain in the tiger, and that is why he is moving here and there, not here and there, he is just moving in that adjusted area, the this how much space is there, he just managing somehow in that. So the word stock means just slightly moving here and there. I explained you the meaning yesterday also. You can see the meaning here also. You can note down the hard words in your copies. So actually student, the writer is telling you again here is that he stalks in his vivid stripes, mean to say that the tiger who has vivid strip on his body. Vivid strips means the stripes of different colors, deep bright colors. Look at here, of deep bright colored stripes. And you all know what the stripes is. Stripes are actually you would get on the body of zebra also, and on the body of tiger, panther, on those spots or the lining on the body that you get, that is actually the stripes. And then students, the few steps of his cage on paths of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. So now the poet is telling you that this tiger silently, the quiet rage means to show that in a silent anger. It means he is angered from inside, but he is not showing that anger because he is not in a position to do that. So he is very angry from inside, but he is not, from his gesture of body is not showing that way. So in his quiet rage, he is angry but he is silent. So in his silent angry, he is walking inside the cage. As much space it has, the few steps referring that the cage does not have so much of space. So it is just moving in जितना स्पेस है उसी में काम चला रहा है. It is just moving in the space available for him to walk in the cage. And how he is walking in his pads of velvet. It means on his feet he is walking, and he is moving quietly on his feet. वो पैदल शांति से चल रहा है, जितना जगह है उतने ही जगह में केज के अंदर. He is just walking inside the cage, in as much of space as there in the cage. Paths of velvet, I explained you yesterday also. It expresses the feet of tiger. It refers the feet of tiger, and he is moving on his feet quietly. That's what it means. On paths of velvet quiet, it means he is quietly moving inside the cage in his quiet rage. It means in his depressed anger, he is just moving inside the cage. So student, I hope you would have understood what the description of the poet in the first stanza, what he wants to say. Now we will read the second stanza, students.